Bitcoin is still ranging between the $96,000 and the $95,000, but we might see a huge crash coming in the coming days because the US government is moving their Bitcoin funds on Coinbase. But of course I will tell you everything about that later in this video. There are still a lot of interesting formations for Bitcoin unfolding on the charts, which I will discuss with you. There's a lot of interesting news and data coming in for the Bitcoin and the Ethereum ETFs, and also we can see that Michael Saylor is buying again with MicroStrategy. It also feels like alt season is starting, and I will also have a look at the two altcoins Cardano and Vechain. So you want to watch this video all the way to the end to don't miss anything. Please slap up that like button because it will help this channel a lot, and let's dive right into the charts. Yesterday in my video I was talking about this huge formation for Bitcoin on the 4-hour time frame, and we are still consolidating inside of this formation. On the lower side we can see multiple touch points as support, and on the top side we can see multiple touch points as resistance. And eventually this price is getting squeezed into this apex, so we could see a breakout today or maybe in the coming week. So as I was saying, we could see a breakout to the top side. Then we have to wait for confirmation of the break to the top side, and then we can wait for a retest of the previous resistance to turn it into support. And if this bullish retest happens, you can enter the market and aim for higher targets. And if we again see a bullish break, then I think we will see the $100,000 getting hit very soon after. But of course there's also a bearish scenario possible, that we're going to see a bearish break, that we're going to break through this huge upward sloping support area. Then we can maybe retest it as resistance, and from here you can enter the market possibly in a short and then aim for lower targets. And then the lower side of the formation will be confluent with the breakdown target, and that will be around the $86,000. So this could be the bearish scenario that could play out in the coming hours or maybe in the coming days. So keep in mind that there are always multiple scenarios possible, so let me know what you think. Are we going to see a bullish break or are we going to see a bearish break in the coming hours for Bitcoin? And yesterday was another interesting day for the Bitcoin ETFs. We saw a huge inflow again of $353.6 million. And that was because BlackRock was buying like crazy. They bought for more than $838 million. So this is insane, of course. And we can see other Bitcoin ETFs are also buying, but we can see that Grayscale is selling their portion of Bitcoin. And we can now see that the Bitcoin total cumulative inflow for the spot Bitcoin ETF is coming to a new all-time high. So this is looking very bullish, of course. And we want to see the next spike to the top side after some little bit of a consolidation. And of course we only saw 2 out of the last 10 days of inflows that were negative. So let's see if we can continue the bullish streak in this week. And if we then have a look at the Ethereum ETFs, we saw that yesterday we saw an inflow of $24.2 million into the Ethereum ETFs. And that was all because BlackRock and Fidelity were buying, but we can also see that Grayscale is still selling. So this was having a little bit of a mixed day, but eventually we saw more positiveness. And we're now having a cumulative inflow for the Ethereum ETFs of $601 million. So this looks like the start of the Ethereum ETFs inflows. And let's see if we can also see more inflows in this coming week. And if we zoom in on the 4-hour time frame, we can see that Bitcoin broke through this huge resistance area to the top side. We came back to test it as support, and then we saw another bounce to the top side. But now we can also see that Bitcoin made it high, and we are now making a lower high. So this indicates a little bit of a trend reversal. And we could potentially see that Bitcoin is coming back to the support area, and from here it is a make or break point. So we either are going to see a bounce from this level, or we are going to see a break through this level, a retest of the support to test it as resistance, and then we can aim for lower targets. But of course we want to see that this support area is holding strong enough, and that Bitcoin is going to bounce from this level, and that we are eventually going to create a higher high, and that will just invalidate the lower high trend. So Bitcoin is now creating this lower high, so we have to keep in mind that the trend is now shifting a little bit on the 4-hour time frame. And yesterday there was another news article coming in that Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy buys another $1.5 billion in Bitcoin. So this is insane, of course. And they are buying like crazy, and they now bought for 3 times in the last couple of weeks. And if we have a look at the DCA chart for MicroStrategy, we can see that every green dot on the chart is a moment that they bought. And we can see 2 green dots here at the all-time high. So no matter what the price is for them, they will just continue to keep buying more Bitcoin. And this is exactly how you do a DCA. And DCA means dollar cost averaging. So it doesn't matter what the price is, you just buy in. And eventually when the price of Bitcoin goes higher, you are making a ton of profits. And in total, MicroStrategy now owns $38 billion in total of Bitcoin. And this is insane, of course. And they are almost in profit of $15 billion. So this is insane. And I think Michael Saylor will go down as the best investor in history ever. And if we then zoom out to the daily time frame for Bitcoin, we can see that Bitcoin is creating this higher high and higher low structure, and we're still in this huge uptrend. We created this higher high, which was almost at the $100,000, and now we are seeing a little bit of a consolidation to the side. So we could potentially see that Bitcoin is going to see more downside from here and make a little bit of a correction to create that higher low. And if Bitcoin is going to create a higher low, we are still in a huge uptrend. So for instance, Bitcoin could see lower levels from here. And if we have a look where these lower levels could be, then I will zoom in a little bit on the 4-hour time frame where we can see a little bit more price action. So this level is a very interesting level for me. And also around this level we can see some price interactions. But of course also this level at the $76,000 is a very interesting level, because there is still a CME gap open from a couple weeks ago. And for instance, if Bitcoin is coming down to these levels, I am going to buy more Bitcoin because my orders are getting set at these prices. And I think if Bitcoin is coming back to this level, you can enter the market again in a long, because these are very interesting prices for Bitcoin in the coming years. And of course, it's also possible that we're not coming back to these levels, but then my limit orders doesn't get hit, and that doesn't mind for me. But if Bitcoin is going to come to these levels, I am going to buy more Bitcoin. And after that, we can maybe see more spikes to the top side after reaching these levels. And one of my favorite charts to look at is this weekly bull flag formation. And we can see on the weekly time frame a huge run up, then some consolidation, and we were making a huge bull flag formation. And when Bitcoin was in this huge bull flag formation, I was telling you that I was been buying more every time we touched this lower side support. And from there, we are now seeing this exponential move to the top side. And we are now seeing multiple weeks of huge exponential moves. We are now seeing a little bit of a consolidation, so this is nothing to worry about, of course, because we are almost at the $100,000. So, for instance, Bitcoin could see a little bit of a drop, and then we can just see a continuation of the bullish uptrend. And this bull flag formation still has a breakout target of $110,000, and that is around this level. So we could potentially see that Bitcoin is going to reach this level, and from here, I'm going to take a little bit of profits, because then the breakout target is getting reached. And there was also a little bit of an interesting article coming in, and that was that the US government moves 10,000 Bitcoin worth almost $1 billion to Coinbase, and it looks like they are going to prepare to sell. And this is of course a very interesting place to sell Bitcoin, because we're almost at the $100,000. So they could be selling Bitcoin. So if they're going to sell Bitcoin, we could see a huge drop. But of course, it's only 10,000 Bitcoin. And we also had Michael Saylor buying for almost $1.5 billion in Bitcoin. So if the US government is going to sell their Bitcoin, they are probably going to sell it to Michael Saylor. So let me know in the comments, do you think this is a smart move for the US government that they are going to sell their Bitcoin, or do they need to wait for higher levels? And another chart I want to look at is the S&P 500 chart. We can see that the S&P 500 is now creating an all-time high. And this chart never has been this high, so this is looking very beautiful, of course. After a huge run-up, we are now seeing exponential move, so this is looking very bullish for the markets. And the sentiment is very bullish amongst investors. So I think that this chart will also be a front runner of Bitcoin. And most of the times in the history, when the S&P 500 is pumping, we can also see that Bitcoin is pumping. And they are a little bit correlated. And of course, it's a very different asset class. But I think when the sentiment of the stock market is very good, we can also see a good sentiment in the Bitcoin and the crypto market. And the last news fact I want to share with you is that Coinbase now allows users to purchase cryptocurrency with Apple Pay. So this is insane, of course. So you can just buy cryptocurrency with 2 clicks on your mobile phone. And this is very good for retail, because they want to access the market and they want to do it in a very easy way. So I think this is having a very bullish effect, because retail is coming back to the market. And Coinbase is now facilitating them to buy in very easy. So this is looking very bullish. And the first interesting altcoin I want to have a look at is Cardano. We can see that Cardano is in this huge run-up and we are breaking level after level. We can also see that this huge resistance area was coming into play on the 4-hour time frame, but then we broke it to the top side and we're seeing the next exponential move. But if we zoom out on the daily time frame, we can see a lot of interesting levels are being broken to the top side, and every time we broke it to the top side, we saw a retest to test it as support, and then we saw an exponential move to the top side. So this is looking very good, and especially for a huge coin like Cardano. And of course, this level is now being broken to the top side, so we have to paint it in green, and we can now see that this is acting as support. And if we zoom out on the weekly time frame, we can see that Cardano is now at this resistance area, and on the past we can see a lot of interesting price interaction. So this is the next make or break level for Cardano. And if Cardano is going to break to this level, we could again see a huge spike to the top side, because then the next big level will be around this level, and that will be around the $1.45. So this could be the next make or break level. But of course, we could also see a little bit of a rejection coming into the market, and that we're going to test lower levels. So if this is going to happen, don't panic. You can just buy in more Cardano if we're going to see a retest, because every time in a bull market we also have to aim for retests, and corrections always happen also in a bull market. But as I'm always saying, you want to buy every dip when we are in an uptrend, and we are now seeing 5 exponential weekly candles for Cardano, so this is looking very bullish. And let me know in the comments if you still hold Cardano in your portfolio and what your price prediction is for Cardano in 2025. And the next altcoin I want to have a look at is Vechain, and I've been talking about Vechain for quite a while now. We were in this huge consolidation formation since the end of 2023, so we're almost for 1 year now. Eventually we broke out bullish, we retested this huge resistance area as support, and at this huge green box of accumulation, I've been telling you and my community that I'm going to buy more in for Vechain, and eventually we are now seeing a huge exponential move to the top side, and from this level you could have already made an increase of more than 230%, so this is an insane trade of course. And we can also see that we're now pumping through huge resistance areas. And as I'm always saying, the top side of this falling wedge formation was the breakout target of Vechain. So we are pumping straight through it. So this is looking very bullish. And the 5 cents was a very interesting level to take in profits for me, because from these lows where I was buying, I am already up for more than 160%. So this was an insane trade for me to make. But of course, I didn't sell anything at once, and my trade is still running. And these horizontal lines that are red, we can now paint them in green, because they are now turned into support. And also, if we have a zoom in on the 4-hour time frame, I was telling you last week that we were in a huge consolidation formation. We were in this huge uptrend, so this was possibly a continuation pattern, because after such a run up, you want to see a consolidation, and then we can see the next exponential move, which is happening right now. So Vechain reached the 7 cents, and this is looking very bullish. And let me know in the comments if you still hold Vechain in your portfolio and what your price prediction is for Vechain in the coming months. So this was it for today. Please give this video a like if you think it was useful. Don't forget to follow me on my other socials, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.